Hey friend, welcome to Mat Chats with Black Girl White Gi, where we roll through the highs and lows of jiu-jitsu, life, and everything in between. Come grab a seat on the mat, get comfortable, and let's have a chat. Welcome to another episode of Mat Chats with Black Girl White Gi. I'm Jess, the black girl who's not wearing a white gi right now, but in any event, this episode will be uncomfortable if you don't like talking about race. And before we even go into the episode, I want to implore anyone who's listening, no matter what your race, ethnicity, creed, class, gender, anything like that, I want you to keep in mind that what I'm saying is my perspective. It's my opinion. Just kidding. But it's my perspective. What I say today is not meant to insult people, is not meant to say like, oh, you're racist and blah blah blah. No, this is not what this is about. This is about a perspective that I feel, and sometimes I'm sure that many other people feel, as a person of color, a black person, a woman, maybe like if you're Muslim, Jewish, so on and so forth. So that being said, let's go into the warm-up. So recently, I commented on a video. There is a creator who is, she's, a black woman who goes and tries jiu-jitsu for the first time. And, she's going in there, she's having a good time. She's like, it's really, I love seeing people's perspective when they try jiu-jitsu for the first time, because I love to see what they're going through. I love to see, they're like, oh my God, like, this is interesting, this is fun, I can't believe my body can do these things. And that what eventually leads them to love the sport. I put in the comments, and also I want to say, like, I love it also because it was when I see especially black people, and like especially black women, trying jiu-jitsu. And I put in the comments of this girl's Instagram, I love seeing us as in black women on the mats. And some guy commented, it's like, what do you mean by us? And I'm just like, black women and black people. And he responded with like, well, I love seeing white people on the mats. And it's like, okay, bro, like there's some people that you don't dignify with a true response, because you know that you can't explain to people your mentality and your thoughts. So, going into the main rule, as jiu-jitsu, for some reason, is not a sport where you see a lot of people of color. For example, in my gym, there's three black people, give or take. Like, there's me, a black woman. There's another young girl she's around 13, I believe. She was like 13 or 14. And there's an older gentleman, Warren, but he hasn't been there in a while. So anyway, so there isn't a lot of people in the gym. Sorry, it's the dogs. There's not a lot of black people in the gym. And if you're, and I'm gonna call it white people for a second. This is just me talking and just giving a kind of thing. I know that this conversation is like, why does race matter? Why are you bringing up the idea of race? And I would like to say to you, just again, keep it in perspective. In some spaces, when if you're the only person of color in a lot of white people, there are some experiences that are negative. Not saying, and again, this is not me saying that my gym is negative, because I've known my coach for almost as long as I've done jiu-jitsu, and my partners and teammates are great people. This is not saying against them, but there's certain times, like for example, when you go to like a predominantly white institution, there are sometimes where people are racist. People, like, you might not see it because people aren't being racist against you, but there's sometimes where there's little microaggressive type behavior. So like, for example, like, oh well, oh, you're wearing your hair like that, oh wow, you look crazy. Or like, or I've gotten this a lot going to PWIs or being in mostly white spaces. but like, oh wow, we're almost twins, Jess. I got a 10. Like there's things like that. And then you have the things where are dangerous. Like I know a few years back there was this how do you describe it? There was this situation where there was a lady where she went to a sleepover with her white friends and she ended up dead. Who knows? But there's sometimes where being the only Black person in a space is dangerous for your well-being, for your physical well-being, and as well as your mental well-being, dealing with the microaggressions and so on and so forth. So, I pose a question to you, like if you're in a case where, let's not even say like race or like race or religion. Let's say there are sometimes where you're in a space and you're the only person that speaks English. I've been in there in China. If you're in a space where no one speaks the same language as you, there's a level of discomfort that you're gonna have because one, you don't understand the language. Two, are they saying something about you? Three, like, oh, maybe you're doing something wrong because you don't understand what the language is. Maybe the coach also speaks English, but you can't interact with the people on a certain level because you don't speak the language. And although race is completely different than that, that sometimes is the case where when you are the only Black person, maybe there's sometimes people say things to you or do things to you that makes you feel uncomfortable. And when it comes down to it, and also like outside of like the comfort of being like the only Black person in mostly white spaces, let's talk about like not isolation, but the fact that why specifically Black women tend not to do jiu-jitsu. Like there's the hair issue, and I won't go this to talk about the reason why hair is so important in Black culture. That will take a whole other episode, and certain things, especially as I have my braids in right now. Literally, these braids are going to come out this weekend because it's been a minute, but the reason why hair is so important, like a lot of Black women don't want to mess up their hair. And then there's like the nails thing, like if certain women want to have nails, not saying that all Black women have nails, but the idea of beauty and how beauty is so important to Black women and being feminine, because again, a lot of the rhetoric that are surrounding Black women is about us being super masculine. Let's look at how people talk about Michelle Obama. Everyone and their mom says Michelle Obama was born a man, and it's so disrespectful to such an intelligent, such a beautiful woman. And a lot of people, like, again, outside of that, a lot of people think about these kind of things, so they don't want to go into that. They don't want to be seen as less feminine. So it is, when you consider these factors, why you don't see a lot of Black women, and that's like almost like in a way a barrier to entry. So if you see a Black woman on the mat, so when I went to my competition in February, seeing Black women, there was like, kind of like, hey, how are you doing? Like, I don't know her, but I want to say hi to you, because we kind of went past that barrier. It's like, okay, you know what? My hair's going to be messed up from time to time. It's okay. I could get it done on another day. Or, oh, okay, instead of getting like the cool acrylic nails or whatever, I could paint my nails and just have them short. We got past that barrier. So it's almost like you have this camaraderie in that sense. Like you're like, okay, wow, like I have my jiu-jitsu sister working with me here in a way, if that makes sense. So I say all that to say that when it comes to race in jiu-jitsu, this is more so on the light side of things, but be mindful, be kind when you see someone of color. And I'm not saying that people aren't kind when they see kind of a person of color, but there is a lot that goes through our minds as solo Black people or solo people of color on the mat. That being said, let's go into our beginner corner. How to be a good partner across different cultures. I think number one, ask questions. Like, you could totally ask questions. Like I have, so sometimes when I train, I wear, well, not so much with this kind of stuff. I've actually discovered a really cool way to maintain my hair. Like these, I have, if you are listening visually.
Wait, what?
if you're listening visually, wow, look at me here. If you are listening and not watching the visual version of the video, I have some French curl braids in, and I found a nice way of being able to keep it so I don't have to wear a bonnet. But sometimes when I have like, I have product, or if I have a weave or something like that, I'll use a bonnet. And one of my training partners is like, "Hey, why are you wearing, like, what's that on your head?" All that stuff. I'm like, "Oh, it's a bonnet. I have excess product in my hair. I just don't want to get it on the mats." Boom, question answered, and we had this cultural exchange. And then like he made a joke. He's like, "Oh yeah, I think I would look good because my bonnet is pink." He's like, "Oh yeah, that's totally my bonnet," kind of thing. So we had a nice little conversation there. Number 2, be sensitive to to people's experiences. Again, going back to the idea of like racism. Although if you are a white person, maybe you let's be real, in the United States, you probably haven't experienced racism in the way that a black person, a Muslim person, Asian, Latin American, all these people have experienced racism. So be sensitive to it. If someone says something where they're like, "Oh, what that person said to me made me feel uncomfortable," don't be like, "Oh, they didn't mean it that way." You don't know how they meant it. Listen to your your training partners or your teammates of different races, because again, most of the time a lot of us don't want to be like, "Oh, that person's racist, that this person's racist," because we get accused of being race baiters, and no one wants to be accused of that. We just want our experiences to be heard and listened to. That's it, right? So just be mindful of what, how you come back to people, especially when they come to you as a friend, because I feel like a person that trusts you with that information is your friend. And if you deteriorate that by saying, "Oh, well, they didn't mean it that way," you just kind of invalidated their experiences. And number 3, what is number 3? I literally just had number 3 in my head and I just lost it. I don't want to cut it. But just validate their experiences. And yeah, I'm sure I can think of number 3 another time. I just don't want to cut this, so it's fine. But anyway, coming to our tap out question. I'm gonna pose this question to everyone, because again, we're talking about, I'm as a Black, Latin, Afro Latina, Caribbean person, my experience might be different than an Asian person, than a Jewish person, a Muslim person, all stuff. But what is something that you wish people understood about your experience in BJJ? And yeah, this could be for men, for women, for everyone. What is your experience? Because again, my lived experience on the mats is different than your lived experience. And I feel that if we can all understand each other, then we have a better time on the mat. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Please follow me on everything at blackgirlwhitegi_BJJ. On Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. Thanks so much for listening, and I will catch you next time. Bye. All right, friend, that's all for today. Thanks so much for joining me on the mats. If you love this episode, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me at blackgirlwhitegi_BJJ, and stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, keep rolling and keep growing.